Hey everybody, welcome to our channel. This is the Harris Football Channel. I'm Chris Harris, and with me, as always, for this handicapping show is Jim McCormick. Hello, Jim McCormick.
Hello.
That's very iconic. I have a podcast. Jim's often a guest on it, and he says that sometimes. So we are here. We used to call this show Harris After Dark. Now we call it Harris After Dark or whatever it's called. And our goal is to make you so much money that you don't have to watch YouTube anymore. Jim, does such an amount of money exist?
It does, because my two daughters watch 14 hours a day of YouTube. So they will offset any gains. Don't worry about it. So that doesn't even make sense, but let's make it happen.
I think the point is, though, if you make enough money gambling on the NFL, you can hire someone else to watch YouTube for you.
There you go. Or I could start one of those terrible viral kids YouTube channels, and that's where the real money is. So
it really is, apparently, if your family is any indication. All right, so the goal here is to pick every game. We won't actually pick every single game, but we'll talk about each game from week 2 of the NFL season. Before we do that, we're going to review how we did in week 1. And Jim, while producer extraordinaire Dave Piper puts a graphic up, how did we do? Who won? Who was better last week?
That would be you, the gentleman with the sharp shirt. Set 9-7 to 7-9. So that I don't know how I'm going to make this up throughout this long season.
I mean, it's such a huge margin. Yeah, it was amazing. However, the best part is that we each gave one best bet of the week, and we were 1-0. You had the Browns against the Panthers. Had them all the way.
The whole time. The whole time.
I actually did have them all the way. Mine was Minnesota over Green Bay. All right, so we're going to dig in. Before we do the general oeuvre, the way we pick games, we don't have statistical models. I can speak for myself, and I think I can speak for Jim, that we're somewhat skeptical of statistical models. We approach it from the perspective of kind of trying to take what we've learned from watching the film, watching the games, and trying to figure out what the line is in our heads beforehand, and then comparing it to the Vegas line or the DraftKings line, and then we come up with our pick accordingly. Does that seem like a fair summary, Jim?
Yeah, I'm more like a hand model, like George in Seinfeld, but it didn't work out, obviously. So
all of your references are very current.
Yes, I mean, George Costanza, is there a more relevant, pop culture icon? So
there probably isn't. I just had to think about it, but there's not. All right. Yeah. So let's get going. We'll start with the Thursday night game. It's probably the best game of the week. It's Chargers visiting Kansas City. How are you thinking about this game? I think maybe the first thing we need to talk about is its availability. Will everybody be able to watch this game, Jim?
Yeah. If you have you have to Skype your friend who has Chromecast, and then you get to see Ryan Fitzpatrick's chest hair, so it's worth it. You know what I mean? It's worth it in the end. But I feel like this might be the first game we see like a hacky sack touchdown. Like these guys are just going to compete so incredibly to have the craziest throw that I think Mahomes is going to throw to his foot and volley it to Kelsey. No, but seriously, this is like the arm game, right? It's the arm talent matchup, and I just think we're getting very close to our first parkour touchdown also between these guys. But no, seriously, I just think that, like you said, this is the best game of the week. Sadly, it's on a short week.
And sadly, it's on Amazon Prime. I'm sure it'll be great. I'm sure it's Al Michaels.
I mean, how can it go wrong? At least he'll mention the point total like 40 times. At least we know that. Which
do you think that Al understands how to get Amazon?
I think they keep installing it and reinstalling it, and he has somehow has 7 Amazon apps on his phone, and they're all he just keeps having subscriptions to new vitamins. I have no idea.
Yeah, well, Al doesn't eat vegetables famously, and but I'm sure he's very savvy with his phone. So the line here is Chiefs at home giving 4.5 points in the parkour game of the week. Who do you like?
Yeah, it's just I'm going to take the points. I think these teams are still close enough. I know what we saw last week was they were incredible. The Chiefs moved the ball at ease. Yeah. I liked what I saw out of this Chargers defense. I know they didn't fully capitalize on what they did, but meaning the offseason plans, even though J.C. Jackson was out, did occur. Like the line looked way more productive. So I just think that's a factor. I think the pass rush will be a factor.
All right, so I'm going to give the points. So I'm on the other side. I set the line at 5. It's at 4.5. Obviously, I don't feel super strongly, but I'll take the Chiefs. This is This is a better test than the Cardinals of the sit back and torture Mahomes and make him go 15 plays, because that's what the Chargers want to do against everybody, right? That defense is Brandon Staley wants to be back, wants to play two guys back. That he's going to see that all game. I just think they're better equipped to do it right now, so I will give the points. Now we get to Sunday. Before we get to the however many Monday games there are an awful lot of them. We'll do the Footy Pajama Patriots visiting the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers somehow getting 2 points. I'm giving a hint on what I think about this game.
Yeah, it's just my first sentence was how the Patriots road favorites, let alone against a Steelers team that I know that Cincinnati coughed the ball up and were terrible the whole game, but still, I guess it's the TJ Watt thing. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know this one. This is like a reputation line. I just don't get it, and I actually think that I know Watt's out, but this Pittsburgh team has a lot of talent.
Who was the AFC Defensive Player of the Week again? It wasn't
Minkah Fitzpatrick.
It was Minkah Kelly Fitzpatrick, as we like to call him on the podcast. I don't know how the Steelers aren't favored in this game. This is a Bill Belichick reputation line. The market's still not adjusting, or the bettors still aren't adjusting. I don't think this Patriot team is good. I watched every game in Week 1. It's what I do. They were a bottom 5 team. The defense is okay, but also Miami wasn't really pushing it against them. They seemed as conservative as ever. They kind of just sat on a lead and laughed when the Patriots tried to score points. I do not understand this line, my friend. I will gladly take home points. I'll take the 2, as they say. We're on the same side there. We'll get to the rest of the games in a second. Let me thank DraftKings for being such a great partner, because without DraftKings, we would not have resuscitated this very stupid show for YouTube. DraftKings is a great place to play if you're looking for a place to maybe take on some of these wagers that we're recommending here. If you use the code HarrisTube when you sign up on DraftKings, download that Sportsbook app, then you got all sorts of cool promotions. They have, if your first $5 bet, immediately they'll deposit $200 into your account of free bets to play around with and get used to the site, get used to the app. They also have a crazy early win promotion where if you bet straight up on a team to win, and at any point in the game they're 10 points or more ahead, you automatically win, whether or not they choke and lose. So that's pretty fun too. We thank DraftKings very much. If you are looking for a place to play the games, please use the code HarrisTube and go get that DraftKings Sportsbook app. So, Jim, we have other games to get to, most of the rest of the games to get to. Let's do Commanders at Lions. The Lions are home favorites by 1.5 points.
Yeah. Philly was uniquely bad last week on defense. They really had this super vanilla too high thing. They kind of just hoped that Jared Goff lost the game, and that's what happened. But I just feel like this defensive line with Washington is still really good. I'm going to take the points on the road. I don't trust Carson Wentz that much, but I just think, if Carson Wentz and Jared Goff did an offseason hunting excursion, no bird would die. So...
Yeah, that's probably the best recipe for avian safety across North America. I'm still going to take the Lions, though. I don't want to get too... I'm doing victory laps on Carson Wentz for fantasy purposes, thinking, you guys are missing the point. It doesn't matter if he's good in real life. He's a different kind of good for fantasy. But I don't want to get too carried away, because I think the Lions are probably not good on defense, but maybe better than the Jags. And it was the Jags. The Jags have been the worst team in the league 2 years in a row, and maybe they just aren't any better. And we'll look back on that Commanders win and think it didn't really mean very much. Again, I'm a half point off on this line. I don't mean to dig in and say, Jim, crazy point. I literally said Lions -2, so it's -1.5. I'll take the Lions. We've got some real barn burners here at the beginning. We're going to get to some better games, but we've got Jets at Browns. Browns at home are giving 6.
I mean... It's a 6-point line with a 39-point total. So I guess the quick math says the Jets are going to score 5 points. It's
maybe negative, possibly negative.
It's actually 16 point something, which is even better. And I just want people to yell at me on Twitter that you can't have fractional points. In any case, I'm taking Cleveland. I like this team. I know Jacoby Brissett giving 6 points is really crazy, but we're going to have a Mike White sighting. I almost promise it. If there's a prop bet for that, I would take it. I just this is just a really bad Jets team. It still really is. It just is. So
Yeah, the defense maybe looked a little bit better against the Ravens.
pass rush was a little better.
Yeah, pass rush a little bit better. Offense just looks lost, and I think it's mostly because of the quarterback, but also the offensive line. You know, two interesting running backs who just don't have any place to run. And yeah, taking the human backup Jacoby Brissett, who I said this on the podcast, but just you can count half seconds and your anxiety level goes up every half second that he doesn't throw the ball, because it just feels like something stupider is going to happen. Like if ever he holds it like 14 seconds in a play somehow, which he can't because he can't move, so he'll be sacked by then. But if he ever did, I think it would open a wormhole. I think like stupidity would fall in from other universes. He is not good. I'm still going to go with you and say Browns -6. We've got a good game. We've got the Buccaneers. Their own personal chamber of horrors is going down to New Orleans, and the Buccaneers are a 2.5-point favorite in this game, visiting the Saints.
Yeah, like you said, this Saints line, this Saints front has had Brady's number to an extent, right? And we know the Mike Evans Lattimore story. I still just don't think the Saints offense is very good. I think the Falcons just backed into that loss. I don't think there was really that much of a comeback in place. It was just like this. They just folded. I don't know what that accent was, like folded.
It was Cajun.
But yeah, exactly. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is in my soul. I'm giving the points on the road. I'm taking the Bucks. I don't trust this Saints offense. I think their defense is very good. That's pretty much it. And I actually think what the Saints do well, the Bucks can stop, which is, terrible passing.
This could be an offensively challenged game, to be honest. I think you're right. I think the Saints offense has a lot to prove. And is Kamara healthy completely? They're signing Latavius Murray. It's still Jameis Winston. Jameis didn't look very good at all until he suddenly did at the very end of the game. I don't think the Bucks passing offense is anything close to what it's been in the past when they still had problems with the Saints. And it's the star core of I love how everybody goes, this is the big Saints comeuppance for the salary cap. See, they're finally paying. Like, who'd they really? Like, Teron Armstead. They lost Teron Armstead. And Marcus Williams. Okay, those are two good players. Everybody else is pretty much the same. It's the same team. The heart of the same team. And boy, the interior of Brady's offensive line does not look good.
No.
I'm going to ride with history. I'll take the points at home. I'm going to go Saints +2.5. Panthers are visiting the Giants. The Giants are giving 2 points at home, which seems... let me check my notes. That seems almost impossible. The wormhole may already have opened. I mean, I don't think it's a bad line. In fact, it's exactly the line that I predicted, but it's just, how did we get here? How did the Matt Rule era end like this? I mean, it's kind of ending.
This line is a TED Talk. I mean, like... You can have presentations of PowerPoints and blow people's minds. Long pauses of just taking in the information. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't give points with the Giants. I'm going to take the points. Last week I said Carolina's not very good. I still believe that. So again, I think this is also just so much of the residuals of that upset win last week, which again, I don't think that says so much about the Giants. So.
Right. It was an easy kick the Titans missed. If they make it, this line is probably even, Right. And yet I did. I'm gonna say this is a push. This is a no play for me. Right. I do this sometimes. You remember how annoyed everybody got with me during the podcast iteration of Harris After Dark. That's because I'm a weasel. But I have a couple of non-plays this week, and this is one of them. It's Saquon against McCaffrey. It's the dream of 3 years ago when everybody trusted these guys. I mean, Barkley looked really awesome. Really good, and McCaffrey didn't really get a chance, to be honest. Like I'm not going to say that there's anything wrong with him per se. He just didn't really get in the open field.
He looked best on that fumble pickup.
Exactly. Literally about to say the exact same thing. That Mayfield fumbles. It's a killer situation if it doesn't work out for the Panthers. McCaffrey picks it up and runs around 4 guys. That was
scoots up the sideline. Yeah.
It's a great run. But I am okay. So this is a push for me. No bet on that one. I am a weasel. The Colts get to go to another another team that everybody will widely assume that they should win, and then they'll probably lose straight up because that's what they do in their division. They visit Jacksonville, and somebody learned their lesson with the tie in Houston last week, because I'm really surprised that the Colts are only giving 4 points.
Yes. This is absolutely based on last week. There's no doubt. Yeah. And I think it's the isolation of the red zone. It was the entire nation for some reason watched that game, and now they just have an insight into this. The actual numbers weren't that bad for Indy. Like making Rex Burkhead look good is bad, but I actually think they moved the ball really well. So and I think that's going to happen again. Jacksonville is still in its own way. I mean, the after effects of having a guy who, like, I don't even want to. I don't know. He like the next thing Urban Meyer is going to do is release a custom pillow. Okay, like that's
half the channel just went off, turning it off.
You wouldn't buy an Urban Meyer pillow? Like I would.
I mean, the Urban Meyer pillow has a lot of fluids on it. Is all I can tell you.
Dude, it comes with a couple coupons to Applebee's. It's pretty good.
So you're saying you're with the Colts, right?
I am. Yeah, I don't know how we ended up with me on the Colts. Yes.
Yeah, I'm on the Colts as well. I was really I said it at 6, and when I said it at 6, I thought for sure it was going to be 10 again. What was it? It was 8 last week, right? With Houston.
Yeah.
And I took Houston, and that was obviously correct. It was a tie, and I thought for sure, I'm going to be on another doormat in the AFC South, and actually it turns out that the market has completely adjusted to how
we talk too much about the Miami hangover. Like Matt Ryan, the Jacksonville hangover. Matt Ryan is not going to fall into the trap of Jacksonville Beach. Okay.
Yeah. So. Jacksonville is just known as the place where you are going to lose your mind. All right, we are at the Dolphins and the Ravens. Dolphins beat a very desultory-looking Patriots team, but the Ravens beat maybe the worst team in the league from at least through week 1. The line there is Ravens -3.5 at home, which I find somewhat interesting.
Yeah. Before the season started, I wonder what this line would have been.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah. Yes. That said, this number kind of felt right to me. I think Miami might actually be good. Okay. But I still think it's a good enough number to take it home. I still thought my first number was 4.5, so I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the. My number was No, I'm sorry. My first line was -4 Baltimore. So I'm gonna give the points. I know that was rambling, but I'm gonna actually stick with the home team. Meaning I do think that there's still there's some bias based on last week's results a little still. So.
Right. I'm with you. I actually also set the line at 4, so I'm also on Baltimore. I don't feel strongly. I agree that the line would have been bigger off season, but that was when we had a question. We still have questions, but we had more questions. We didn't have the one data point where Tua looked like he knew how to use these guys, and Tyreek Hill was very much. I mean, the first quarter of that game was just like, hey, we would like to show off our shiny new toy. Let's throw 700 short passes to Tyreek Hill. Where'd Jalen Waddle go again? Don't worry about him. The thing is that the Dolphins defense. They were very risk-taking against the Patriots.
Yeah, dropping Jalen Phillips back all the time. Right, yeah.
Because they didn't really fear anything down the field. There just wasn't any concern. And, I wonder if you can get away with that. I mean, Lamar Jackson will go down the field. You saw that in that first game. Yeah. I mean, he will go down the field. If there's a blowout here, I mean, it's not saying a lot. If it's a blowout here, it's for the Ravens. But I'm with you. It's close. I'm still on the Ravens. We got to the late games now. The Seattle Seahawks, 1-0. Leaders in their division against the cellar-dwelling San Francisco 49ers. So obviously Seattle is going to be just kidding. San Francisco is a 9.5-point favorite. Oof. We are all taking memory erasure pills and not remembering that week 1 happened.
That's basically, I mean, I feel like that Chicago 49ers game was played in the Willy Wonka set. There was gumdrops and candy cane. It was so sticky. Yeah, this one throws me. We talked before the show. This is probably where I expected this line to be. I had it at 7.
So I had it at 6. I mean, it's not where you expected it to be. It's at 9.5.
I guess what I meant, I knew they were going to be a big favorite, but this is too much. So I'm going to take the points. I think there's some competence. I think this idea that I said before the season I was wrong, that I think Seattle is truly the worst. That's not the case. I don't believe that. They're middle of the road, or they're bad, but they're not this bad. So,
yeah, offensively, they're going to have a problem with San Francisco. That defense will be ticked off after the loss, and the loss certainly was not on the defense. I mean, the defense played well against Chicago, lost its concentration for a couple of plays. Justin Fields took advantage on a couple of bombs, 1.5 bombs. The St. Brown touchdown wasn't exactly a bomb, but The question I just have is, I thought Seattle's defense, just because you don't know their names yet, doesn't mean they're not good. They're really good at taking big, rangy, athletic people and making them corners and safeties. I know Jamal Adams is done, but he was done for most of that game. They did a really, of course, they should have lost that game 5 times over. The Broncos keep screwing up in the red zone. Like, it was a terrible coached game. We'll get to Denver in a second. But I still think, didn't you look at that personnel on Monday night, defensively for Seattle, and go, well, I know who Jordan Brooks is, and I don't really know who the rest of these guys are, but they kind of look like they can play.
Yeah, they do, and they kind of look like they were balled in. The emotion and all that stuff, I don't know how to tap that in, because that crowd, there is something there when that crowd's nuts. But they were at the ball. Yeah, they really were at the ball very quickly, and that's a good offensive opponent.
Right. So that's my feeling is, like, Trey Lance has so much to prove. I wouldn't be
shocked.
The onus is on
him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if it's a 21-point game and we just come out of it and we go, okay, the Niners are fine.
Sure.
But I can't give 9.5 points, no question. An even bigger line, the Falcons are visiting Los Angeles, the city of angels, where I am currently sitting. The Rams stunk, I can honestly say. Can we say the Rams stunk against Buffalo?
I think they did.
They stunk.
They stunk. They were bad.
How does a team that stunk that bad get to give 10.5 points against anybody?
I mean, I feel like Thursday was 3 years ago, I guess. I don't, the guy, Allen Robinson, is just so happy.
He's got a DeLorean. He's got a time machine. Yeah.
He was just like, please, things happen in between now and next week, okay? But yeah, I don't know what to say here other than I read, I didn't see the line until you sent it to me, but then I read about this game. They were 13-point favorites on Sunday morning, the Rams.
It got that way down. Wow.
Yeah. So it's just interesting, even where they originally said it. I talked to my friend at DraftKings, and he said, "Stop! I don't know who you are. Why are you emailing me?" So, that didn't help. I was trying to understand what was happening and where the money was. Either way, I got a free $5 bet, and I am going to put it on the Falcons taking the points.
Yeah, I'm taking the points here too. I actually didn't know. I try not to look the lines early, which is, therefore I'm not getting a lot of line movement. I'm just busy with fantasy, and that's great feedback to know that it came down that far. We'd have loved to have gotten it at 13, clearly, but I'll take it at 10.5. Also, I thought Marcus Mariota looked like budget Jalen Hurts.
Exactly. That's what I said. Yes. Yeah.
Perfectly fine. And they have to design a specific kind of offense, which the Falcons were smart enough to do. And it's not like it worked perfectly. They completely coughed that thing away. They coughed a win away in the fourth quarter. But yeah, I mean, the heir to the FedEx fortune apparently knows how to use the ground game. Get it?
Yeah. It loves the ground game and loves tense and awkward press conferences. So
well, I love it. That maybe not be FedEx specific. Next, we have those Arizona Cardinals, who also were terrible in week 1, and they are visiting the Vegas Raiders, and the Raiders are getting 5.5 points. No, giving. Sorry.
Yeah.
What am I saying? Yeah. Raiders are favored by 5.5.
I would be really excited about that.
I know that would have been a good line. Yeah.
I'm gonna give the points here. I don't think the Cardinals are that good. I know last week was just one, but I didn't think that beforehand. Even though I took the points, don't talk to me about that one. But really, what I mean is they blitz 55% of the time. I know you have to get to, but this is all they do. They do it last year too. But nobody got home, and I don't even know. They just let Chandler Jones leave, and we're just bye. They have no incumbent or replacement. JJ
Watt doesn't play the same position. He naturally he would get pressure if you blitz.
Or Marcus Bolden, but these guys are they were together in Houston when they were good. So I just think it's too many, and I think Carr is actually really good at the blitz, and this is just enough. I had it at 6, so I'm fine with it.
I also am going to be on the Raiders here. I feel like Arizona did kind of do something out of character for themselves, trying to do the anti-Mahomes thing. I mean, they want to be a very aggressive single high safety, play some man, right? And they didn't do that. They played back. They had 5 or 6 guys in the box, 24 snaps, 28 snaps. I can't remember, some very high number. They were trying to the very best to try to
stick to it. Yes.
Yeah. And they kept sending the house and kept not working. Every single time Mahomes saw man coverage, he just had no trouble at all, and most of it wasn't down the field. But I think Josh McDaniels is a good coach. I think he's figured some stuff out. Derek Carr scares the hell out of me, but I will give the points in this case. We've got the aforementioned Denver Broncos are getting double-digit points somehow against the Houston Texans. Once again, sometimes when I read these, I belie what I think, but that coach may be a moron, and I don't think I want to give 10 points if that coach is at the helm.
Man, I already put this in bold before I heard that, so I'm gonna stick with Denver, even though I probably agree with what you just said.
Oh, so you're giving the points.
I know,
10,
yeah. I don't know who his grandfather was, or like what the reason he's there. Like, he invented spray starch or something, or
it's his dad. It's his
Hackett,
dad was
yes.
and Paul Hackett, right?
There you go.
Paul Hackett, who was the offensive coordinator, who for a lot of teams that people said should be good and then weren't.
Right. Well, I feel like we have a circle of life here. But this, for some reason, this homecoming jam, I just feel like they're gonna have fun and they're gonna score a lot. And
I am on the other side. I wouldn't be my best bet of the week because I suspect Houston isn't very good. And I'll say, we were waiting that entire Seattle game for the Denver pass rush to finally show up. I mean, Von Miller's gone, but I mean, Bradley Chubb, pretty good player.
And they paid Randy Gregory a lot. Yeah, so
exactly. They did finally start to show up and completely wreck the game towards the end of that game. So it'll probably happen. Houston needs to play it really close to the vest. It's just too many points. I can't do it. The Cowboys, the Cooper Rush Cowboys, as we like to call them. If Dak Prescott were not hurt and Cincinnati was visiting Dallas, what do you think the line would be?
Oof. Like -1, like Vegas Zony, -1.5, -2 Dallas.
Yeah, I almost think it might be -3. I think on a neutral field, maybe because the Cowboys are such a public team, it might have to be even bigger. And guess what? It's not. Cooper Rush makes it Bengals on the road being a 4-point favorite. Who you got?
I am taking the Bengals here.
I'm not. Oh, yeah. I said 4. It's 7.5. What am I?
7.5. Yeah. I'm still taking the Bengals. Okay. I'm not sure the Bengals are very good, and so but they have all these turnovers, but at the same time, I think it's a big cleanup game for them, and I'd rather have Cooper Kupp as my quarterback.
If it was 4, I'd be taking Cincinnati.
But then the other question:
7.5.
There is an NFL team in Dallas, so I do think that's an NFL team. I'm pretty sure. So.
Yeah, I know that you're not the biggest fan of that defense. You think it's sort of a risk-taking, too much of a risk-reward defense. Like they certainly create big plays, but they also give them up just because they are. And then Micah Parsons cleans up for a lot of stuff because he's a great player. 7.5 is too much. I think 7.5 is too much. Cooper Rush won a game famously against Minnesota when Minnesota really needed it last year. Remember that? That was a national TV game, wasn't it?
He's a star.
All right, fair. He's not. Fair point by you, but I'm going to be on the other side. I mistakenly said it was 4 because I looked at the wrong game. I quickly looked down at my screen. I apologize for that. 7.5, too many points. I'll take the
big opening in the copper bands for him if he's good. If Favre clearly isn't going to hold that endorsement, so.
Yeah. Ooh, ouch. Ooh, he might. You never know.
Who's the demo?
On the copper bands.
Who's the demo? I don't know.
Yeah. We got 3 more games to go, but we are done with the late games. Now we have the one Sunday night game. How is this the Sunday night game? Why are we being subjected to Bears Packers? I don't understand. I guess, Mike Tirico, I think you and I even texted about this. Mike Tirico I'm sure he's very nice. He just doesn't have the pitch. It'd be like me calling the game. I don't have the pitch to call play-by-play an NFL game. It just, every time Mike Tirico announces a game, I think I'm watching NC State, East Carolina. And in this case, it's probably a good thing because we kind of are Chicago, Green Bay. The line right now is 9.5 in favor of the Packers.
I feel like one day he's just gonna write he's gonna read the diegetic notes, or like he's gonna read he's gonna read insert player name or like player X lower ankle. He's reading off a prompter. I am again giving all these points. This Bears team is it's bad. And
let me ask you this: if Green Bay hadn't lost and the Bears hadn't won, what would this line be?
Yeah, it'd be really big. It'd be the biggest 14. Line of the week. Yeah, 13.5 or 12.5 or something ridiculous. I just think there were obviously a lot of bad drops, but I didn't think it was such a disaster for Green Bay. I just thought a lot of things were left on the field, a lot of meat on the bone. So
you think they were bad? Disaster. Yeah. Alan Lazard might be back. So if Alan Lazard's back, we don't know as of our recording this, but if he's back, okay, it at least changes the equation. I'm not sure he's great. Again, I just can't. I can't with that team. I can't think. What did I
There's
say?
a,
9.5.
there's a lot of we're sure they're good lines this week.
Yeah,
So are we sure?
don't worry about the Packers. Don't worry about the Niners. I think the people who root for those teams are the ones who, if they're honest with themselves, are going to be betting on the underdogs.
I'm already giving 225 points through 10 games. So
I noticed that in the early games I was like all chalky, like taking the favorites, and these late games, holy moly, I'm all not doing that. The first Monday night game, because I don't know if you know this, but we need overlapping Monday night games.
It's what the public's been asking for. I want 2 games. I want each Manning brother to do it separately, but cover the other game at the game. Like watch. I want Eli in Buffalo calling the Minnesota game.
Is there room for the kid who's going to University of Texas? Hook him next year?
Yeah, Baby Manning. Yeah,
get involved. If they could just maybe stagger all of Sunday. Games just start every half hour. The entire
continuous.
I'm sure that would be fine. No one would complain about that. This is very strange, but we do have 2 Monday night games. The first of which is the Titans visiting the Bills. And wow, what a line. The Bills are being regarded as the best team in the league. They are giving 10.
Juice, there's so many. This time it's too many for me. Okay. This is the time that I'm taking the points. I just don't know, man. Like is Tennessee this bad? Tannehill might be that bad. Asking everybody to bite on play action might finally not work. And especially
this
is a disciplined team. They don't bite.
And they don't blitz. They don't need to.
No. Yeah. And they don't punt, so
I set the line at 10. So this is my other non-play of the week.
Sure.
I'm turtling because we covered a wimp, so I don't have a call here. But you are.
There's a lot of outs with this line. There's so many outs with the 10 points. I just think there's so many ways to get that.
But not 9.5.
No, yeah. So there you go. See, that's the difference. That half point.
The last one we saved your beloved Eagles for last. The undefeated. Bulletproof, completely bulletproof. They had that all the way against the Lions on the road. They are now hosting the Vikings, who were impressive against Green Bay. Philadelphia is a 2.5-point favorite.
Yes, they are. This was the mask that I wore at the last time Minnesota played in Philadelphia. Listen, this is how this game's going to go. Minnesota's going to score an early touchdown. Somehow Case Keenum's going to be involved. And then the Eagles will score 38 straight points. But really, I'm taking the points. I just watched. I think Jonathan Gannon is. Ooh, I'm out of focus. Boom. Yeah, I'm blurry. I think Jonathan Gannon is as blurry as I am when he calls plays, and he's way too conservative, way too vanilla. I wasn't impressed with the defense last week. Again, if it wasn't Jared Goff, they'd get stomped. Kirk Cousins is better than Jared Goff.
Yeah, same side for me. I'll say Minnesota plus 2.5. I set it at even. I thought on neutral field, I think maybe the Vikings are a little better. So that was a surprise to me to see the line. Now, you wish it was 3. If you can get it at 3, obviously you always want the hook. If you want to buy the hook, that's not a terrible idea as well. All right, the last thing we have to do, people have been waiting. We both went undefeated in our best bet of the week. Which is yours?
Yeah, this is tough for me because I'm going with Pittsburgh. I just think they should. I just think that line is weird. So I'm taking those points.
As am I. That's the one that stands out to me too. So we're guaranteed to get that one right.
There you go.
So we both are going to take the Steelers getting 2 points at home against the Patriots. And I won't root for it because I am better or worse a Patriots fan, but I do not think that is a good line. I think it's like 5 or 6 points off, to be honest. That is going to do it. You know what we want? We want to know what your best bet is. So down in the comments, put your best bet. Now it has to be time-stamped before the games go off, obviously. We'll take a look. But we will shout out somebody who gets a best bet correct. The first person down there in the comments that we see has a best bet correct. Next show, we will give praise. We will tell you how great you are. Because, we all need that in our lives. Yeah. Jim, you're great. I just told you that.
I feel it. The love is here. The lovers,
Thank you for doing it, my friend. And we thank all of you for watching. Thank you very much to DraftKings. If you're looking for a place to play the games, please do use the codes HarrisTube when you sign up at DraftKings. And we will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button. write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button, and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.